I'm Margaret in Windsor, and I'm going to make this quick. I uploaded 3 videos, and I had 4, and somehow I got them confused on 1, 2, and 3, and I hope you can get the gist of it. But I wanted to put this one up because all the information didn't get up. I'm just going to show this real quick. I ran in a campaign to replace Congressman Larry McDonald, a doctor. I'd written a medical malpractice book unpublished. I was doing the book when Mr. Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia in 1978. And I'm going to skip, I've put it up, in the in-between years. All of it was hell. But later, that's today, the 31st of August, this would have been in 83, is when that congressman doctor was supposedly went down in the KL that veered into Russian airspace. The problem, that's Larry McDonald was supposed to. Now, the problem is that former President Nixon was on that flight, and he was taken off just before it left for Seoul, South Korea. Now, then, there's a question as to if McDonald was on the flight or not, or it was all a takedown with 260 plus passengers that drowned to make it appear so. This is my dad, Edward the Eighth, and he never married Wallace Simpson. He was always married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, the baby sister to Georgia O'Keefe from Madison, Wisconsin, and okay, I'm not going to get into that, though. My mom was a school teacher. This whole plot to take down my father, was because he was honest, a good man with integrity, married to my mom. She was Queen of England. He was forced out with character assassination. He never married Wallace Simpson. She married a double, an imposter. She's an American spy. And I have other stuff, I won't get it out now, I might put it up later, about the man she married here. One of them, his name's Spencer and something else. Winfield, I have to look it up, because I swear the names come up and it's weird about that man. But my father was still married to my mom. They destroyed him, took his identity and my mom's, and they've replaced pictures and redone them. One of the reasons they had to go to that extent, I believe, is they didn't know my father was going to have a child. And he had papers drawn up, and he never meant to leave. They forced him out. You get into Sir Winston Churchill, you get into Cosmos Lang, I believe was his name, Archbishop of Canterbury. By the way, my mom was born in the Church of England. Not born. My mom and dad were married in Church of England, so it was all legal. And then I was christened there. So it was a takedown of my dad and his own brother. Illegal George VI was put there after they took my father down with the Illuminati took him down. Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, and JFK, John Kennedy's father, was ambassador appointed by President Roosevelt, who was a part of the whole takedown too. Anyway, this is I found out in '83 after I was flown out to Mr. Flint's in that campaign to replace the doctor, Larry McDonald, who was supposed to have gone down. Okay, that's '83, and here it is, 2018. Oh my God. I wanted, I have to use another name. They took my name. I still have the name of the person, the twin. They were both killed by their mother. And I put all that up. I hope if you follow me, you can piece it together without me going further background on it. But my illness, I have an autoimmune disorder. And that's how I've been made to run from place to place. I've been kept penniless and homeless and a pauper. And it's so sick. And right now, I think you can tell a little bit by my voice. I mean, it's horrifying what they've been allowed to do. This whole thing boils down to, a part of it is, if someone is approached by law enforcement or someone in the situation I'm in, and they are given the choice of, let's say let's just use one that's where the child's been caught under the influence driving or something like that. Or if the place of business, and I'll take the motel as an example, they have codes they have to live up to. Let's say they came in and checked and they were going to shut them down or something, and they barter with them to either help me or hurt me. And this whole thing has been that if they're offered and they don't have to pay for the crime and they can get away with it, they'll go along with it. It is so odd. So I'm just going to put this up. I put part of it up and I kind of scrambled it. I think I took down the wrong video. But anyway, I'm going to put it up again if you don't mind and make it more clear. They've run me with it. And this is nothing but lies. If you went back, you have to put these people up before a court of law under perjury. And I can't get an attorney. And whether it'll ever be put into court, I don't know. And the truth told, Illuminati controls the press, and they're sure going after President Trump. And it's such a shame. They should lock up the press. They've known all about this from before my father was taken down. So anyway, I don't want to get into this too much. I want to show this. This is Affordable Corporate Suites, Overland Drive. And she's put this up due to the rental rate increase from a certain amount to $1,015 a month. Ms. Childers found it necessary to move from our facility. While she lived here, she always paid her rent on time, etc. Jean Croft. All these people like over in Bedford, Joseph Stream, stayed there 7 months. God help. I tried to put that up in the others, what happened there. I was so sick, managed to stay there, and you wouldn't believe what they told after I left. But this is a letter February 17th, 2011, just prior to this one. I guess I left there that fall of, which would have been in, when did I leave there? I can't even remember. Anyway, since Peggy moved in here in August of 2009, she has always paid her rent on time. If you have further questions, please call the number above. So I got the 2 letters from her, and a Jew owned that. And when I came here in 86, he owned some, but, oh man, he owns... You wouldn't believe how he's expanded and he's really wealthy. Now, I found out that I was writing about, I started out writing about mind control murders, and Mr. Flint was shot while I was doing the book. And I'd worked for doctors, and it's the Tesla files that were stolen. And I'll just make it brief. There's a whole bunch that everybody should look at that was in the Tesla files, and I don't guess we'll ever know really what was all. But come to find out, you can cure an illness or create one, and I won't get into how. I've put it up a lot. And you can program people to do anything. People think you can't. Yes, they can. They use like a low frequency signal and do it. They used to do it with ham sets, but it's so advanced now. It's my God, it's like zapping, go around who zaps who and who's left. Anyway, let me just finish this. Somebody brought me this, and I put it up, but I'm going to put it up again because the Illuminati, Freemasons did this. And I'd been writing about since 76 and tried to get the book published about mind control murders and how you can make people commit suicide or appear to, like Robin Williams, etc. Next door at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, next door to Salem, Roanoke here. It's just one of them, but 33 died there. The shooter ended up, because he's programmed to shoot himself, as a lot of them are. But you can cause cancer, you can cause Ebola and get rid of a country, or AIDS, or, good old Center for Disease Control. Anyway, I guess I better not Anyway, this was implantable biochips. This was, I got a hold of this after I was up on the mountain in here. So this was probably about 92, 93, 94, I don't know. Church sent up there. But I'd already told that Timothy McVeigh had been chipped and it was mind control. And here he says that he was put to death. He said that they put the military, he was in the army, had implanted a chip in his buttocks. He was put to death. So they're just talking about, well, they mentioned twins here, gets in all to this, the words do. They're talking about biochipping here. Tex Mars, he wrote a lot of books, but he's deceased now. Okay, I'm just showing this, if I guess the book's available. It's really published by Religious, Project Lucid, and it's talking about Revelations and all that, and the Illuminati and the Bible prophecies. Now I'm going to go from there. This is the Affordable Corporate Suite. Now this is later, 2014, and I'm at a different one because he's got a lot of them, and they are nice, except for me. That's the whole thing in here. Some of these places I talk about are nice, but that's not my experience and how they treated me. So here, May the 14th, I'd moved in there, and I've always told Affordable Corporate Suites, and it would be wonderful if there were pictures taken of all this that could prove the hell I went through, but it's been done, and where my children are, that kills me. I don't know if they're alive or what, but I wanted to get to this specifically one. I had stayed in the affordables over these many years too, and they use the chemicals, and there's nothing I could do about it. They'll come in. I couldn't call a cop because law enforcement's involved in it. But anyway, they've used them. They'd make me, I'd pay the rent and I'd have to leave. I'd become so sick, and there's nothing I can do about it but look these people in the face, in their eyes, knowing they know what they're doing to me. Okay. This one was, well, I guess I haven't stayed in one since then. Anyway, I did want to read that again because it said, per our conversation, you stated that the cleaning supplies, well, if they just did a couple or normal cleaning, some of it might make me sick, but, that's kind of a handicap to me, kind of. It's killing me over a period of time, the inflammation, and right now I'm having kidney problems. It's a wonder I hadn't had it before, and I've got other problems over the years that developed from this toxic fumes being forced on me. So I've simply told people so they know, like, if you're diabetic, you tell someone you are. If you're allergic to peanuts, you tell them. And that's okay, but in my situation, they can get away with it, so to hell with me. But she says here that I told her, and they always knew this way back, because I'd stayed here before, and this is, I believe, the last one, I don't know, I stayed in. Puts me into staying places and begging to go back, because I've tried to leave this and go out of state, and I'm forced to come back, because it didn't do me any good. I end up coming back. Simply, part of it is I'm sure I'm meant to be here. I guess that's it. But I could go up on the mountain in the forestry and camp out, as bad as it was, and have a place to stay. But here she says, per our conversation, you stated that the cleaning supplies we used were detrimental to your health and could cause a life-threatening situation. Because you have an immune deficiency. We are unable to comply with your request to change the supplies we use, forego the monthly exterminated. I never asked them to forego that. I did ask them not to get out on the floor and the walls every week when they come in, and they used chemicals that they wouldn't use in some kind of bad laboratory. And somebody that lived there, knowingly, I'll say, told me that they were supposed to have a list of the chemicals they used in the apartments, but that wouldn't do me any good. He suggested I get it. Well, they wouldn't put the truth up, my God. but I've heard people say that when they stayed in motels, they said to me, because some of them are sensitive to chemicals, a cute little word, sensitive, um, but that people complied, like if the linen, they'd specially wash the linen, or not specially wash, they didn't put strong detergents in it to help them. They're the customer, so. And anyway, but anyway, she says we can't comply with your requests to check. It makes me. All of this is so. You wonder if they've been dictated to actually what to do and say. Okay, while sympathetic, the hell they were sympathetic. They deliberately did it. To your situation, we're under strict legal regulations to kill me. Amen on that one, right? From the government, OSHA. Well, later I emailed OSHA, and they didn't say much other than at this time they couldn't help me. And that's all they said. And do not intend to change any corporate policies. Well, one day I hope you come, that's all I can say at this point, face to face with God, and I hope you tell him all this, and that you can't, it's killing me, quite frankly, and it's allowed. So saying it would be everybody's best interest for you to find alternate housing that would be better suited for your needs. Well, they've had me running from place to place, finding alternate housing and driven up to the mountains. And I go back to Larry Flint when I walked out the door there. He said there's no room in the inn. Okay, just prior to then, I had been flown out there during the campaign and readily had a room for me that was very nice there in his home. And the second time I was out, it was kind of like role playing. I'd just come out there, and he was helping him in the campaign, and I'm pushing him around in a wheelchair, and he's looking in the door and said, well, there's somebody in here. So it ended up that I thought, well, I have the money now. I can go down to a motel in Los Angeles. And then suddenly he said, no, sleep in my daughter's room. So I slept in there. I had about 4 hours sleep then, not long before I had to leave again the next day. And when I left is when he said that. He introduced me to a movie producer that was sitting with him and said there's no room in the inn. Well, this is what this has all been about, me, this part of it, since 86. No job, living in the national forest, getting run from that, up and down the mountain, snakes, hot sun, freezing to death. And I put all this up, so I'm sure somebody outside can hear me. Okay, so here, in essence, she's saying, well, we don't have to comply. We can just kill you if you want to read between the lines. While she's sympathetic, oh my God, it's a wonder she hadn't choked on it. So saying it would be everybody's best interest if I just die, why didn't you go ahead and say that? You've got everything you all want from me. You stole me when I was a baby. You've done things to my babies that I hope the world sees, and I hope you have to belly up to the bar, sweetie. And by the way, I don't think I said this, and this is going to go off. Oh, God, I can't do another one. She ended up recently over the last year driving a cab twice, and I didn't remember her exactly. And the reason I remembered is she handed me something to sign because she was driving the cab, supposedly, and I kind of remembered, and then it was her. Now, she's still over there managing. Why they let her rub it in my face, I'll never know. This is her name. And she told me, put this on here, and I said, what if I come up there? I've always paid my rent on time there. I said, what if I come up there and stand with the money and offer it to you? Are you going to take it if I just keep standing there? And she says, no, I'll call the police and have you arrested. Well, they would have done it. So Debbie McKay told me she turned her daughter's picture